I think we had an introduction to classification of organisms to start the year, but in case you didn't get notes on that and you're interested in the backyard classification assignment, these notes will be helpful. So where do organisms fit in this whole classification thing? How is that done? Why is it done? So ignore this part about quick exploration. That was part of an old assignment. But every organism that we know of that has been named officially has a two-part scientific name. And it's generated from a larger classification system that has 8 levels of classification. Most of us, when we look at an organism, however, stick to the common names, like the black-capped chickadee, the common name for this bird. Its scientific name is Poecile atricapillus. Two-part scientific name. The first part is capitalized, second part lowercase. And oftentimes italicized if it's in print. But then if we look at larger, more broad categories of living things, you might recognize plants, animals, and fungus. And so those would be kingdoms. So the larger, more general groups are some things that we're familiar with, like fungus, animal kingdom, plant kingdom. So when we've assessed on this in the past, we have focused in on the different kingdoms. There's 3 domains, which is a larger, more general group, and 6 kingdoms. So knowing the 6 kingdoms I've assessed on in the past, domain though is the most general broad group, and that's based on type of cell. If you look at our black-capped chickadee, and we look on the left here, domain is the most general group, species is the most specific group. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 levels of classification. These are categories of classification. So what kingdom are they? They're the animal kingdom. What phylum are they? They're chordates. What class are they? They're the bird group known as aves, aviation, flight. And so then we can get more and more specific as we get further down on our categorization. So the domain is eukarya. So they have eukaryotic cells, they're animals, they're chordates, they're aves. Their order name is passeriforms, the perching birds. Paridae is their family name. DAE usually means a family name. And then Poecile is the genus, and Atricapillus is the species. So the scientific name is made of the genus and species part of classification. So why classify? Why is that important? Well, when you got a lot of different things to manage and keep track of, a system of organization is kind of important. We have 1.3 million species that have been named, and so we need a system to kind of keep track of all of those named species. So if we think of that concept in a different context, maybe it'll make some sense. So let's just say you went to the marketplace in Annandale. Where does organization begin here? What categories make sense? You go into the grocery store. Well, the store has different departments. In fact, they have 9 different departments: the bakery, the dairy, deli, frozen foods, floral, natural, organic, produce, non-foods. So now imagine I have a quest for yogurt. I need to narrow my search. Can't go to all those departments. So you have a particular kind in mind. So how do you get there? Thankfully, the store is organized. Begin with your department. Choosing what department. Hopefully you pick the dairy department. So then what smaller category makes sense next? Departments are divided into sections. So what section do you want? Well, not the milk, egg, cheese section. You want the yogurt section. So what smaller category makes sense next? Maybe you're going to then look for brands of yogurt. So what brand do you want? Not Yoplait, not Dannon, not Old Home brands. You want Stonyfield. So what smaller category within the Stonyfield group of yogurts makes sense? So maybe you're looking at calorie content, whole versus light or low calorie, reduced fat. Those might be some categories we could use. So what calorie content do you want? Not light, not low fat, or reduced calorie. You want whole milk. Better taste. So what smaller category makes sense next? Well, brands often then divide by container size. So a number of ounces or individual servings. So what container size do you want? Not a single serving, you want 32 ounces. So what smaller category makes sense? Well, I've got the 32 ounce whole milk Stonyfield organic yogurt, but I want a specific flavor. So what flavor do I want? I want plain. I don't want vanilla, I don't want blueberry, strawberry, I want plain. So why might I not find this specific type of yogurt today? The yogurt I want is also organic. So they have a whole department for that with its own sections, brands, etc. So if I don't find it in the dairy section, maybe I find it in the organic section. All right, so how does this relate to taxonomy? If we think the marketplace, looking at the bigger categories, department sections, brands within sections, those are categories that make sense in the marketplace. In organisms of life, organisms of living things, the categories are domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. They don't make sense to us, maybe, but they make sense to scientists who help set them up and have passed that knowledge on to future scientists. So the different categories at different levels get more and more specific as you get to the specific item or organism you want. Concept is exactly the same as the marketplace. You're just calling the category something different, and then within that category, you're looking for something specific. All right, so top to bottom classification examples. Anyone know what this is? It's a eukarya. It's in the plant kingdom. It's an anthophyte, meaning a flowering plant. It's a dicot, which means it has 2 seed leaves. The seed splits in half. The order name is Caryophyllales. Family name Polygonaceae. And genus Rheum and Rhabarbarum. So Rheum, Rhabarbarum, you might know that as rhubarb. Or coming to a feeder near you. Eukarya. It's an animal. has a backbone, it's chordate, it's aves, it's passeriform. Different family name though than the chickadee. Fringillidae. And Hemorphus mexicanus is his scientific name. So looking at a purple finch or rhubarb. But every organism has this classification, categorization, unique to itself. We tend to focus more on the lower end for its scientific name, or maybe these larger categories. It's an animal. It's an animal with a backbone. It's an animal that has feathers. So these are categories that get a lot of attention for people studying living things. And then to be more specific in what we're studying, we might use a scientific name. We don't always pay attention in here. But anyway, that's classification, and hopefully that's helpful for anybody using this set of notes for the classification, backyard classification lab option.